I want to start today, first of all, by thanking my family, my wife, my daughters, my father, my friends and colleagues from across the community, and everyone who has supported me for a number of years as I prepared myself for this moment. As I received a lot of phone calls and emails from my friends over the last few days, they all said, "You must be very excited, but you must be nervous as well." I told them, what do I have to be nervous about? I'm at home. I'm back in my house of Winston-Salem. Look at the stained glass to your left and right. If you visit some of the public schools of our area, if you visit Cook Middle School and Kimberly Park Elementary School and Paisley Middle School, if you visit Carver High School and Athens High School, listen to the walls. As you look up the word achievement, and you've read the last 2 years of the Winston-Salem Chronicle, when you go back and you look at this stained glass, and you listen to those walls, and you read those articles, there's one similarity. They say Haynes. They say Haynes. They say Haynes. And I'm just so glad to be back in my house of Winston-Salem, to be speaking to you from his house at St. Holmes Church today, and to be back home. To talk to you today about a united 72nd district. One district, one Winston, one Forsyth. As I've spoken to leaders across the city and across the state, one theme is consistent. Citizens want leaders who will unify. They want leaders who will unite, because at the end of the day, that's what leadership is all about. Setting a stage for the achievement of a common goal. When you place my name into nomination, you will be voting for such a leader. You are voting for a man who doesn't have to pretend. As a professional educator and now an entrepreneur, I have already projected a vision for a prosperous, results-driven, and united work, learning, and living environment. As your representative, I will continue to defend the voiceless. I will continue to promote what is right over what is popular. I will continue creating powerful coalitions that cross artificial barriers of race, of class, of religion, of political leaning, and sexual orientation. Together, we will promote the idea of one district, one Winston, and one Forsyth. When you place my name into nomination, you are voting for a son of East Winston, born of school teachers who were themselves the children of a janitor in Winston-Salem and a day laborer on the docks of Hampton, Virginia, the Commonwealth. You are voting for a family in the Haynes family who has seen both sides of life's forest. We've never forgotten the lessons learned from our family's start here in Winston-Salem, from right here in Saints Home United Methodist Church in Boston, from right over there at 1100 West 13th Street. From that porch on 13th Street, lessons of faith and family and education were instilled in 8 children, my father and his siblings, by parents who, by all measures of reasonableness, had a built-in excuse to give in to the crushing haze of segregation in the early 1930s. Possessing themselves only elementary educations, my grandparents prayed a simple prayer for their children every day. Why can't we, Lord? Why can't we? From those steps at the house on 13th Street, united, they walked their children to this church every Sunday. They demanded that those children walk to Kimberly Park Elementary School and to Athens High School and perform every day. And while my grandfather swept floors at what is now the Millennium Center in downtown Winston-Salem, and my grandmother tended home, they dreamed for their children and prayed that simple prayer. Why can't we? Why can't we? From these streets in Boston, where the stark realities often overwhelm the will and the fragility of the flesh, prayer and preparation met at the intersection of opportunity. And the Haynes family got lucky. We got lucky. 7 of those children became sons and daughters of Simon Green Atkins, of Slater, of TC, of Winston-Salem State University. The other became a son of Shepherd, of McClendon, at the North Carolina College for Negroes in Durham, at North Carolina Central University. From the most meager of beginnings, my grandparents lived in defeat, but they were not defeated. A simple prayer and a commitment to the lessons taught in the schools and churches and living rooms in this community, in Boston, and the Heights and the Bottoms, were passed on to my sisters and me in our community of Carver School Road. This simple prayer, why can't we, brings me back to you today, to the 72nd District, to a diverse district with some of the city's finest schools, and yet host to some of the lowest performing schools in our state. Our district produces many of the city's highest achieving high school graduates, and yet also hosts a great percentage of the black males in our city who never see graduation. Our district is home to one of the nation's finest universities, the city's employment leader in Wake Forest University, and yet also plays host to a large number of the 44% of unemployed in the black and Hispanic communities. I visit you today so that we might consider this simple question asked by my grandparents Frank and Evelyn Haynes so many years ago. Why can't we? Why can't we work united to enforce Executive Order 50 and ensure opportunity for local businesses over out-of-county or out-of-state contractors? There is currently $350 million on road work coming through East Winston-Salem right now, and not a single local general contractor on the job. That's not right in a normal economy. When employment is spiking at 44% in the black community nationwide, it's near criminal. When you send me to Raleigh, I will put an end to ignoring Executive Order 50. Why can't we work united to enforce the spirit of Senate Bill 914, a bill which is meant to give a hand up, not a handout, to traditionally underrepresented firms and contractors? I will work with our friends at Wake Forest University to build and cultivate coalitions that have traditionally not existed. I will work with our friends and partners at Winston-Salem State University and Novant to ensure that they too can identify qualified companies owned by women, minorities, and veterans. Why can't we work united to eradicate the crippling high school dropout rate of black males in our district through the adoption of early Head Start programs and public-private partnerships like the Harlem Children's Zone? Why can't we couple that with a heavy dose of real talk in our churches and living rooms across this district? Real talk meaning we must acknowledge the debilitating impact of out-of-wedlock births and commit to change. 32% of all white children born in this country are born to single-parent mothers. 50% of all Hispanic children born in this country are born to single-parent mothers. 72% of all black children born in this country are born to single-parent mothers. Let me repeat that. 32% of white children, 50% of Hispanic children, 72% of black children. Folks, this is not make-believe. The outcomes are not make-believe. It is a fact that children who grow up in single-parent households are more susceptible to living in poverty. They have a greater potential for inferior health care. Children who grow up in single-parent households have a greater potential to develop poor credit, which leads to a higher default rate on loans, which leads to bankruptcy, which leads to a greater chance of being ensnared in the criminal justice system. This all leads to fulfilling the often spoken of soft bigotry of low expectations, cementing an entire city, east and west, in a cyclical and inoculated malaise to suffering across our communities. Why can't we? Why can't we stand united and stand firmly against constitutional amendments that permanently separate and promote discrimination and not give in to our worst instincts and commingle biblical interpretation with constitutional intent? If the people of this district are looking for someone who will discriminate against the LGBTQ community in hiring, in legal policies or principles of civil rights and basic humanity, or in any way suggest that people who have different sexual orientations don't have full rights in this state, you will not find that in me. We are one district, one Winston, one Forsyth. There is no other way forward. I am sick and tired, and I'm only 39, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about what we can't do or what I'm not responsible for from Democrats. Well, Ed, I'm state government, and what you're talking about is local. Well, Ed, I'm local, and we can't be held responsible for things that are well beyond our reach. Well, Ed, what you're talking about is pie in the sky and unrealistic. Really? Pie in the sky. I just visited the Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine with my Leadership Winston-Salem class. I saw a video of a team of scientists printing a viable human ear from stem cells. Folks, they literally printed the ear using an HP inkjet printer with stem cell ink. Pie in the sky? I saw in the same facility scientists improve or remove all DNA from a pig kidney, replacing it with human DNA. The idea is that one day we will do transplants on demand with animal organs that are infused with your own stem cells, your own DNA. Instant acceptance by your body and a boon to pig farmers globally. Pie in the sky? We can figure out how and afford to print skin, ears, kidneys, and bladders. But we can't figure out how to graduate black kids from high school and college. We can figure out how to make sense of and vote for displacing hundreds of poor families in this city to build a baseball stadium, and then vote to give a millionaire millions more to complete that stadium. But we can't figure out how to make sense of fully funding backpack programs so that elementary school-aged children don't starve to death over the weekend. Why can't we? Why can't we, united, take a cue from abroad and fund student tuition at one state university, just one, through lottery receipts? We could fully subsidize the tuition of those students in our state who come from families living at 20% of the federal poverty line. Why can't we include veterans who place their lives and futures of their families on the line so that I can stand here today, here in my suit and my crimson tie, and wax on about the freedoms they defend under fire on a daily basis? Under my tuition plan, funding students at a school the size of WSSU, would cost around $39 million a year. Sounds like a lot. The lottery has made $2 billion over the last 5 years. They are raising the price on the Powerball right now and are expecting that raise will double the intake from the lottery. We can afford to build a lottery on the backs of the poor, but we can't afford for that same lottery to make public universities as free as practicable for the children of the poor, in direct contravention of the state constitution. Don't tell me what we can't afford or what can't happen or what is pie in the sky. Nothing is impossible if we are united and want it to happen. We can figure out how to lure and extract value from Dell and Caterpillar and how to build what will be the largest urban research park in the country. We can raise the salaries of the 1% and fire the helpless. But we can't figure out how to find the value in ending food deserts in our urban corridor, or find the value in maintaining the arts in our public schools, or afford the humanity in not writing blatant discrimination into our state constitution. Why can't we? If you are looking for a leader who believes in the power of one district, who is the son or who is a son of this city, who has faced the adversity in the current day boardrooms and classrooms of our businesses and universities, I am that leader. If you are seeking a public servant who believes in the promise of one district, who has started a business during the worst economy of our lives, who has actually created job opportunities, and whose efforts every day result in the possibility for a safer, cleaner, and more affordable energy future for our children, I am that servant. If you are looking for someone with courage to go to work every day and cast the hard votes, who will not take your trust for granted, who believes in the idea of being a servant of the people versus the opportunism of establishment and system-made politicians, I am that leader. From that porch on 13th Street, united, we will take our example of preparation, meeting opportunity, through every neighborhood and every district, and will not stop until we arrive in Raleigh as one district, as one Winston, as one Forsyth. From those steps, united, we will offer a hand up to the marginalized. We will offer a hand up to struggling small businesses. We will offer a hand up for the underserved communities. We will offer a voice for the voiceless. We won't make excuses. They don't explain and they don't excuse. They are tools of the incompetent and build monuments of nothingness. And those who rely upon or use them rarely accomplish little more in life than making excuses. Instead, we will promote a culture of unity and high expectations, understanding that we are more alike than different. We are homoousios, of the same substance. And when the East fails, so fails the West. We will walk together, united, as one district, as one Winston, as one Forsyth. From that porch on 13th Street, from those steps, from these streets of Boston, we will lead our district away from legacy elections, away from accepting the status quo, and away from excuse making. From Carver School Road to Hawthorne Road, from Old Town Club to the Tree Club, from Centenary Church to Greater Cleveland Avenue Church, united, we will go to Raleigh and promote our ideas of job creation through the green economy, results-driven educational reform, and affordable universities. If you believe in one district, if you believe in one Winston-Salem, if you believe in one Forsyth County, then I invite you to join our movement. If you are among the poor, but you are rich in your desire to improve your position and the opportunities for this community, I invite you to join our movement. If you are living in defeat but remain unconquered, I invite you to join our movement. If you have been told at one point in your life that you are no good, that you're nobody, that you'll never amount to anything, but you possess an unquenchable desire to achieve more for yourself, I invite you to join our movement. When you place my name into nomination, you place your name into nomination. You send a clear message that the day of unimaginative politics will no longer stand, that egos ahead of ideas will no longer be tolerated. Promotion over production will be rejected in the 72nd District. And united as one district, all things are possible. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our district, our city, and our county. And God bless the great state of North Carolina. Thank you very much.
This concludes the announcement of Ed Haynes Jr., a son of this city, as a candidate for the 72nd District House of Representatives seat. We do invite you to remain and greet the candidate. Those who want to support this effort, we would like to get your information. Ed and I had a conversation this summer regarding an organization we were involved in, and there were some very challenging and very complex issues, and I had to consult with my friend. I had him put on his lawyer hat, and I needed his wise counsel. And even though we couldn't come up with a definitive solution, we made progress, and he said one thing to me. He said, "Chris, I'm with you." He said, "Chris, I'm willing to get in the trenches with you." He said, "Chris, I'm willing to get on the front line with you." Now, that's one thing I can say that I admire about Ed. He gets on the front line in the trenches and some controversial issues that many people don't have the courage to take. He speaks his mind. So I just want to stand here and tell Ed, I'm with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate it.